What is one secret you have never told your parents and still don't plan on telling? I broke my mom's waterbed having sex. The same night she came home really drunk, and when she woke up in the morning she thought she did and didn't remember. When I was 7 my mother broke a vase. I pretended to be the guilty just because I knew my dad would be angry with my mom and do it. I didn't slip in the shower. My girlfriend fell through the wall when I was hanging her. Edit. Banging. I put my foot through my bedroom door after I lost an online match on UFC 09. The guy kicked my ass and then PM'd me abuse, so I went berserk. I told my dad it was over a girl who faked pregnancy with me and that she was phoning me. Truth is I hadn't spoken to her in months and didn't want to admit it was over a video game. My grandmother had a collection of fairly expensive rings, and when she died she left one to every woman in the family. I was 13 and told not to wear mine out of the house because it was a bit loose on me. I did and lost it within a month of her death. Every now and then my mom asks about it and I'm just like, yeah, it's in a box in one of my drawers. I don't wear it because I don't want to lose it. And my dad and I lived with his then fiance years ago. Her oldest daughter and I used to fool around. When I was like 10-12 I threw a soccer trophy at my door during a tantrum. It put a hole in my side, but not all the way through. I stuck a bumper sticker for my favorite college team over it. I'm 28 and it's still there. My parents are divorced and my mum used to tell me to ask my dad for money, for my hobbies, activities, etc. I never told her I stopped doing that when I was 15 because I was told that I was the reason his wife couldn't buy herself anything nice. It was his all complete and utter bullet. I stole my mom's earrings to give to my girlfriend in 3rd grade. She never found them. Grew up with parents who were divorced. Lived with my mom and stepdad. Dad was a crack cokehead but took me every few weekends and I loved him very much still. At 14 my stepdad was killed and my mom became an absent closet alcoholic. My dad got his it together for me, so he spent 2 years in a live-in rehabilitation home and my mom left me alone in our family home from ages 14-16 to pursue a new relationship in a town hours away. I kept them up to date on my good grades and fun extracurricular sports and whatnot, but I was lying. I fell into hard drugs and became addicted to coke and MR and alcohol. I stole food so I could eat. But I also stole clothes and makeup and alcohol and everything else I wanted solely because I wanted it. I tried to kill myself multiple times, all in under 2 years. I don't plan on telling either of them that. My dad recently asked me how I paid for my college when he knows I don't have a job. I'm never going to tell him that I became a local drug lord for 24 months and moved hundreds of lbs of pot through frat houses and cashed out when I was free of student loans. When I was in primary school I was playing tag and thought it would be a good idea to go through the out of bounds area. Unfortunately there was a small rabbit hole or something that I tripped on and then fell and cut my forehead on a rock just on my hairline. Unaware of how bad the injury was, I just continued playing and at some point I ran past a teacher on duty and she said I had to go to the nurse. There was apparently blood dripping down my face. Turns out I had to get 3 stitches. Naturally, WorkSafe were all over this it. They had to know how something so serious could have occurred and asked me to take them to where it happened. I was really scared and couldn't tell them I went out of bonds because I couldn't get in trouble. So I told them that I didn't really remember but would have a look anyway. Turns out that I found a bolt sticking out of a pole and blamed that. WorkSafe audited the whole school and found several more. So we were not allowed outside at lunchtime until it was fixed. The only problem was that the people who came to fix it couldn't start for a week. So every day for a week we were stuck in classrooms at lunch and recess time. All because of me. Still haven't told my parents. TLDR. Went out of bounds at school and caused everyone to be kept inside at lunchtime for a week. The time I found their home movie when I was looking for something to enjoy alone, I take my dog out to play fetch one day in the summer. We play behind my house in the meadow. It is by the edge of the forest anyways. My dog ran away into the forest. I chase after him and I find him in a skunk den getting eaten by the skunks. I tell my mom he get lost in the forest and I never did find him. I do not tell my mom I did find him but he was a skunk lunch. As an adult I was visiting my mom. She was divorced from her second husband and at the time she had a roommate. One day they were at work and I answered the phone in my mom's bedroom since it was the closest phone to me at the time. I needed to take a message and opened the top drawer of the nightstand on instinct to find a piece of paper. Big mistake. Right on top was a double-sided dildo, a Hustler magazine on top of a stack of Hustlers, and a love letter to her roommate. Trust me when I say that I only read the first sentence or so and put it back in the drawer. Here we are almost 20 years later. Lives with a different woman now. She's never come out of the closet. I've never outed her and never will. It's her decision. I love her no matter what and I think I'll call her today because it's been a couple weeks. Edit. First gold. Thank you. I'll post this for my brother, who is not on Reddit. Less than a year after he bought his house, with considerable help from our parents, he and a friend were looking at a gun in his living room. Being young and careless, his buddy pulled the trigger, blowing a nice big hole in the refrigerator our parents bought for bro. It was a nice fridge, too. After promptly hitting himself, he and the friend hauled us to a local second-hand appliance store and bought a reasonably similar looking fridge, which stands in his kitchen to this day. In 1989 I got a tax return in the mail for $250. I was 13 at the time. I opened up a bank account and deposited the money. My parents probably sold some stocks for my college account and overpaid the eyes. My dad walked in on me after I had sex with a couch. He didn't know it though. I was having sex with a couch and I fell asleep while leaning on it. I was shirtless and pantless with my boxers down to my knees, alt over the couch with my D in between the couch cushions, in the living room. When my dad turns on the lights and wakes me up, he asked me what I was doing and I shouldn't fall asleep like that. He didn't know my D was in between the cushions, and when he turned around I pulled out and pulled my boxers back up. He still doesn't know. I've spent over $1,000 on sex toys for myself in the span of 2 years. My dog ate a whole pot cookie I left out once. My mom thought the neighbors tried to poison my dog by throwing something in a Ziploc bag over the fence since the poor pup was falling over and fainting. In reality the pup stole my Friday night from me. Mum, I know you're a ducking stoner, right? I found your stash when I got in after school one day and happily smoked half knowing you couldn't say it. So don't ducking lecture me because you think I've smoked once or twice. Hypocrite. Edit. Spelling was wasted. All of y'all got these crazy stories and I'm just here planning on never telling my parents that I've watched porn. Broke my brother's PS3 me port because he annoyed the duck out of me on it. The idiots went and bought him a new one. 2 weeks later I buy the broken one and have it fixed for like $20. Feel guilty that I was the one who put the screw in the tuner. Lately, everything I do, they have a nasty habit of giving unsolicited advice and judgment in everything I tell them, even after explicitly telling them how much it bothers me when they do. So they ask, and I don't answer. That after reading some of the comments they are ducking lucky to have me as a son. Years ago my mom bought a brand new couch covered in white fabric. My girlfriend was over one day and, as horny 18-year-olds are wont to do, we had sex on it while my parents were out. Dad was at work. Mom went down to the gas station to get a soda and fill up the tank. Thing is, my girlfriend was on her period at the time, so we managed to make a big stain on one of the white cushions. My mom came in the house just as we were finishing, so we had just enough time to pull our pants up and flip the defiled cushion over to hide the spot. Once mom said hi and went about working in another room, I ran to get the Tide-to-go pen and some wet paper towels to blot that stain. While the smell was removed, the stain itself wasn't going anywhere, simply turning a deep red-brown when it fully dried. The next day mom calls me downstairs, furious, and I know I'm in for it. She points to the stain and asks what the duck happened to her couch cushion. I shrug and remind her that dad was drinking coffee on that cushion. Mom was so pissed that dad slept on that couch for the next 2 nights. TLDR, mom buys new, immaculate, white couch. I duck menstruating girlfriend on it, marking my territory, and make dad take the blame. PS. Dad had it coming and I feel only mischievous glee when I remember this. I am from the UK. When I was 16 I was holidaying in Mexico and ended up banging this American girl. Flew home and obviously thought that's that. We literally live thousands of miles away. I'll never hear from her again. I'm 25 now and 2 years ago I got a message on Facebook from her saying that she got pregnant and had the baby and that I have a son. She sent me some pictures and he does actually look like me. I wouldn't even consider telling my parents about this until I have absolute proof that the kid is mine. But even then it would break their hearts to know they have a 9-year-old grandson they never saw. At the minute I'm kind of just playing it by ear. Update. While I appreciate the sentiment of most of your comments, please try and appreciate the difficulty of my situation. Being this far away really does cause a lot of problems and it's just scary to be honest. However, the majority of you were right. I did need to do something, so I went and found an American company that will collect a DNA sample from me in London and then conduct the paternity test in the US and send the results individually to both me and her. So I guess I really did just need to get off my ass and do something. I suppose I'll be finding out sooner rather than later. I went on Disney Channel's website without their permission. I'm gonna burn for that one. I do naughty things online. My mom found some used cotton swabs in the shower covered in a brownish red substance. She thought it was battery acid. She wanted to know what it was. She asked everyone in the house. No one knew. For some reason, it really bothered her. She went ballistic over it. Someone in this house knows what this is. They didn't just appear out of thin air, nobody knew. Later that day, it dawned on me that they were probably the tips I used to clean out my ear. Had a pimple or something, and it was dried blood. She was so mad. I didn't want to confess, so I never told her. I am now 45 and still haven't told her. She has even brought it up a few times over the years. I'm taking this one to my grave.